I'm Lynnette Khalfani-Cox, the Money Coach. I'm the CEO and co-founder of AskTheMoneyCoach.com and Money Coach University. So for more than 25 years, I've been covering personal finances, first as a Wall Street Journal reporter and as a CNBC correspondent, and then obviously as a business owner for the last almost 15 years. And if there's one thing that I've learned in those 25 years, it's that people are really bad when it comes to managing their money at every possible level. Human beings suck when it comes to saving money, investing, planning for their retirement, all kinds of things. So the big idea that I want to share with you today is about what's going to happen in the future and how the future of personal financial management is going to be one where you actually don't manage your money at all. And I mean at all. So some of you might think about apps, technology platforms, things that help you to do a lot of research, a lot of analysis. We certainly got a lot of those elements right now. But I'm talking about a future, a concept that I call the money matrix, where things are actually done for you. It's a little woo-woo, it's a little big brother, but it's not gonna be as scary, at least not when I explain it to you, and I'm gonna explain why most people are going to opt into this form of money management in the future. Some of you right now know about robo-advisors, whether it's Betterment or a Personal Capital, et cetera. I'm talking about something beyond that, beyond somebody giving you recommendations based on digital inputs and other forms of data. Some of you might be thinking about, okay, well, are there gonna be devices connected to aggregate all of my information and my financial transactions? This is a little bit beyond, as a matter of fact, far beyond the so-called Internet of Things with connected devices. The future that I'm talking about in the money matrix, as I'm calling this big idea, is where not only is your financial data and your economic transaction history going to be aggregated and analyzed, but literally everything about you. Your health data, your personal information, stuff about your relationships, your family background, your entertainment, your religious preferences. Every bit of data personally about you is going to be analyzed, sliced and diced, married together with your financial information. Don't freak out. I see some people are looking like, what? And done in order to give you a better financial outcome, okay? Now, think about it in these terms. Right now, you might have Alexa at home and you can ask a question and, say, what time is it in Stockholm, Sweden, for example, and you get an answer. What if you could ask a device that, or an app or a platform? If you could ask a question of anything about your own personal finances and get a customized answer based on your situation. That's what's coming in the future in the money matrix. Now, some of you, I mentioned kind of Big Brother. The reason that I foresee this coming is not just about big data and artificial intelligence, but the incredible amount of machine learning that's going on, and for other developments on the technology front, one of which I'll mention in a moment, but it's really going to be about putting the personal back into your personal finances, about a customized level of answers for you, solutions for you, not just on the information and the analysis side, but actual decisions, things that are done for you. Now, if this seems a little scary to some of you, and it may seem a little frightening, think about your own personal life. We've already agreed, some of us are just waiting to do this, to surrender something that's the very most important thing that all of us have, literally our lives. We've turned over, we're about to go to autonomous self-driving vehicles. And if you think people are willing to get into a car they've totally surrendered control, right? To let a vehicle take them from point A to point B, hopefully a car that's paid for, as D1 just said. I could so identify. I have a 2002 Toyota Highlander, by the way. No car notes. But we're already there, is what I'm telling you, and that this concept is going to be one that's instrumental in helping you to power forward in your financial life in the future. Right now, you may not know this, but there's already some companies that are on the edge of doing some of this stuff. Elements of it. I predict it's going to get much more integrated in the future, much more holistic, but you have companies like Cinch and MoneyLion, both of whom are here. You have companies like Digit and EarnUp, others who are actually doing things for you right now. whether it's saving to help you to save without you even thinking about it, using an incredible amount of machine learning or artificial intelligence to do that information. You have companies like Envestnet, Yodlee, they'll be launching in the first quarter of 2018 a new app, a powerful solution. I'm sure a lot of banks and financial services providers are going to get it, but it's really a wellness app called AI FinCheck to help consumers do better. Again, all of this is sort of on the precipice of what I'm calling kind of the money matrix of the future. Now, let me give you a quick example of how this might work, because when I said you might be able to ask a question, for instance, right now, here's a quick question that is very common for people to ask. When should I take Social Security, right? So, you know, if you ask this of a financial advisor today, you're likely to get an answer that's kind of like, it depends. It depends on your age, how much you have saved up already, your health, your life expectancy, those kind of things, right? Well, picture in the future where in the money matrix, let's take one element. I've already told you that they're going to marry your financial data with your personal data of every kind. Picture a platform, an app, a digital solution that knew everything about you from a health standpoint. And if you asked the question, when should I take Social Security, you'd get an answer that was more like, well, since your mom lived to be 89, and your grandparents both lived to be 91 and 93 respectively, and you're in excellent health right now, you have no major physical problems, no hypertension, no high blood pressure, no cholesterol issues, et cetera, your life expectancy is likely to be X age, right? Maybe 90 or whatever. Therefore, you should take Social Security at age X. And again, that's one element, but I'm trying to show you how, at a customized level, so much of your personal life, everything else in your life matters when it comes to your financial choices and the outcomes, and that's part of what this concept that I'm talking about, the money matrix, is going to do for you in the future. Now, I know some of you are already thinking, yeah, giving up that much information? Are you crazy? What about privacy issues? What about concerns about data breaches and all those things? Here's why I think this concept is going to work and frankly is inevitable in the future. We've heard about the Equifax data breach and other data breaches, and we know that consumers are concerned about that. But I think that there are going to be a lot of mitigating factors against such problems in the future. One is the development of blockchain. So without getting too high level here, it's essentially a decentralized technology that allows for information to be distributed but not copied. And one of the advantages, of course, of blockchain technology is that they say, and so far it's proven to be, pretty incorruptible, essentially kind of hacker-proof. So that's going to mitigate some of those concerns about data security and privacy. Also, there'll be regulatory influences in a big way in the future, especially when it comes to data aggregation. I don't know if you heard just last week, the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, issued some guidelines and some, not rules, but certainly some sort of best practices around data aggregation, essentially saying we want the consumer to own his or her own data and have the right to control that with third parties, and what data aggregators, banks, fintech companies, and others should be doing when it comes to privacy, security, information sharing, and so on. Look for more regulation on that front in the future. The big reason, though, that we'll get to this sort of money matrix concept where all of your information is shared and that you're willingly sharing it. I jokingly said sort of woo-woo Big Brother. Big Brother is like a concept, they're watching you. But this isn't so creepy, scary, they're watching you. This is going to be a situation where people will willingly turn over their information. And mainly it's because they're going to see a way to get way better financial results and financial outcomes. If you had a choice and you could have an algorithm, a machine, something that would help you, whether it's machine learning, artificial intelligence, again, all of the powerful elements of big data combining to make you rich or make you poor, which one are you going to choose? I'm guessing people are going to go for the rich one, okay? However, it's beyond just the financial impact. If you listen to experts like Malcolm Gladwell, who talk about how it takes 10,000 hours to master something. Some of us consider ourselves to be money experts, and we've spent years, decades, and we still have a lot to learn, right? Who has time, let's just take one category, insurance. Who has time to spend 10,000 hours learning about life insurance? Or 10,000 hours about long-term care? Or about should I get whole life versus term? Or any other form of insurance. Now multiply that times the number of personal financial categories that people need to learn and master in order to do well. Retirement savings, paying for college, student loan debt, credit cards. It's sort of an infinite amount of information that we're asking consumers to be able to do. And frankly, we know that computers can do a lot more of this way better, faster, more efficiently than we can, okay? So there's really just one question left when it comes to the money matrix. Which pill do you want, the red pill or the blue pill, okay? And those of you who have seen the Matrix know that this is the question that Morpheus asked Neo, and essentially it's about you kind of making a choice. The red pill, blue pill sort of analogy here is about, do you want to hold on to the illusion of control and freedom and choice, or do you want to have better financial outcomes? Do you want to get to the point where you know you need a will, but you haven't done the will? Well, maybe in the future that will just be done for you. You know you need to save a certain amount of money. Maybe that savings will be automatically done for you. So that's the big idea I wanted to share with you guys today. And I think that so many people will be willing to give up that information. Again, I mentioned InvestNet Yodlee. They actually did a survey and found that people are already willing to give up, certainly on the financial transaction front, a lot of their personal data if it means they're going to get wealthier or have better financial outcomes. Thank you so much for listening, guys.
Lynnette Khalfani-Cox, everyone.
Hi there.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. For the next
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I hope I didn't creep people out. Like, oh my God, this is
Big Brother's coming.
They're coming.
Stay calm, everybody. Yeah, don't run for the exits.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I want to, you are someone that whenever I think about your overall story, I want to talk a little bit about your personal story.
Sure.
Which is, you really had a huge pivot in your career from your time at CNBC to becoming the money coach. And I look at CNBC at the time, you must have thought was the top of the world. And look at you now.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about that pivot, because I think there's a lot of people in the audience who might be at that point where a pivot, it starts off as the worst thing and it could be great.
Well, it was a little less than a pivot and more like, boom, a kick out the door.
You kicked them out the door?
No, workers usually get fired as opposed to, you know.
Yeah, right.
So what happened in my case, I was a Wall Street Journal reporter for CNBC. One day my boss came to me and to 200 other employees there at the company, said, we can't afford you guys anymore, you got to go by.
Out of the blue.
Totally. So at first I was like, it's not right, it's not fair, I'm supposed to have a contract. But it totally worked out. And so my last day on air at CNBC was March 1st, 2003. That same month, March 2003, I started my company. Almost 15 years later, I've never looked back, and it totally worked. So I actually still do. Thank you.
That's so amazing.
I still do the same thing. I get on TV all the time. I talk. I write a lot of books. I do a lot of media, and I'm a money geek. I like to talk about money all the time. And
you can't have a boss come in and say, hey, listen, you're out of here.
Not unless me or my husband fires me. So yeah,
That's right.
It actually works. So.
Yeah, and then the second thing, Farnoosh earlier talked about being prolific. You're incredibly prolific. You've had how many best-selling books?
Well, my New York Times bestseller is called Zero Debt, The Ultimate Guide to Financial Freedom. We just came out with the 3rd edition of that this year, as a matter of fact, 2017. Another book, Perfect Credit. We just came out with a 2nd edition for that. I have 12 books.
Yes.
All on money management and personal finance.
How do you wake up in the morning and write? Are you a night owl?
Absolutely not. So, my process varies, but increasingly it's gotten a lot more intensive. Believe it or not, when I wrote Zero Debt, I banged that book out in about 30 days.
Wow.
The book just leapt out of me because I lived it. And so I wrote it as a 30-day action plan to teach people how to jumpstart their finances. And I just said, just do this one thing each day. So every day I would give them one step to do. Because I think when people are in debt, they're just overwhelmed. They don't know how to begin, and they just want a little hand-holding. So that book was done in a way that was, it was like easy. My most recent book series, College Secrets, I was like, I'm dying here, It
was a little harder birth.
Oh my God, it was incredible. And I felt like what other writers have told me they felt. And I have a master's degree in journalism. I did this professionally for so many years. But, so my process of late has been more like a lot of research, condensing it, but my husband and I are trying to have a more sane life in our crazy world because we have 3 kids and own a business and we're traveling all the time. And so a lot falls on his shoulders when I'm like pecking away at the computer all the time and just, we're all trying to hold it together. So
Well, I just love how you just take massive action, and you're so inspiring to so many people. Ladies and gentlemen, Lynnette Khalfani-Cox.
thank you guys.
Thank you.